Why, in contrast to other action movies of the era, did Predator feel so horribly real? The shocking information that Arnold Schwarzenegger just disclosed is what gives the film its profound authenticity. Fans didn't anticipate it either. His behind-the-scenes knowledge gives the classic a whole new meaning. You might never watch Predator the same way again after these astounding insights. It's more than simply movie trivia. It's revolutionary for fans of action movies. Everyone was taken aback by the unexpected return. After over 40 years, 78-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger recently made an unexpected return to the Predator franchise in 2025. Additionally, the majority of fans were unaware of the wealth of behind-the-scenes mysteries that have been revealed by this return. The film industry has been rocked by what Arnold and filmmaker Dan Trachtenberg created together when they just spent brunch together. The renowned action star has made a formal comeback in an animated Predator epilogue as Dutch Schaefer. Murderer of Murderers, his first franchise appearance since 1987. However, this amazing tale is only getting started. The way that Arnold's comeback has brought back a plethora of recollections and insights regarding the first movie is amazing. In recent interviews and conversations about his return, Arnold has been unusually open about production-related incidents that studio executives likely wanted had remained hidden in the jungle. There is nothing more ideal about the timing. With Arnold possibly making further live-action comebacks with Predator Badlands scheduled to open in theaters in November 2025, the Austrian Oak has been sentimental and surprisingly outspoken about the film that solidified his reputation as an action hero. However, what Arnold recently disclosed goes much beyond the usual battle stories in Hollywood. These are the kinds of secrets that instantly make you want to view the film again from a different perspective. We are discussing production nightmares, hidden meanings, and artistic choices that influenced the history of film. The sequence with the scorpion that made all the difference. In Predator, the scorpion sequence is one of the most underappreciated parts. Dutch comes across a scorpion while scuttling through the forest, you know the one. Most spectators likely assumed it was just another obstacle in the jungle. However, Arnold has provided confirmation of what movie experts have been wondering about for years. The Predator's true nature is revealed in this sequence, which is actually a brilliant work of narrative. The scorpion is a metaphor for the Predator, which is an instinctive killer. Since the Predator is a villain in the conventional sense, it does not hunt, just as a scorpion does not sting because it is bad. In subsequent talks, Arnold has talked about how filmmaker John McTiernan was fixated on these significant moments. In order to demonstrate that the Predator makes sure every death is quick and comparatively painless, McTiernan included the scorpion scenario. It isn't torturing its victim. It is using its own perverted code of honor to carry out a hunt. This insight fundamentally changes the way we should interpret the entire film. The Predator is a fighter who adheres to long-standing hunting customs. With this understanding, every encounter between Dutch and the Predator has a new significance when you rewatch the movie. Arnold also disclosed that some of the most gruesome circumstances were present when this sequence was being filmed. The Mexican jungle was teeming with hazardous critters, including spiders and genuine scorpions. Arnold himself came into contact with a number of actual scorpions while filming, and the team had to continuously inspect their equipment for deadly surprises. Even more intriguing is the fact that this sequence nearly didn't make the final edit. McTiernan battled to keep it in, despite the opinion of certain studio officials that it dragged down the pace. Fortunately for us, he did, as it is today regarded as one of the action movie's most intellectually profound scenes. Dutch people were known for their habit of smoking cigars. This is going to blow your head away. Arnold smoked cigars all the time on the Predator set, and not only because he liked them. According to recent behind-the-scenes disclosures, Dutch's character development was greatly aided by those cigars. Arnold Schwarzenegger can be seen working hard in between takes in the behind-the-scenes documentary The Unseen, which is available on the Predator Special Edition Blu-ray. However, most fans are unaware that this practice had a part in some of the most memorable scenes in the film. In fact, Arnold said, the cigar smoke helped him get into character. Dutch needed a leader who could remain composed and think clearly under duress. Arnold was able to express his thinking through the routine of smoking cigars, acting in an unanticipated way. However, this is where things start to get interesting. There was another useful use for the cigars on stage. Mosquitoes and other insects were abundant in the jungle where they were filming. There was a natural repelling effect from the cigar smoke, keeping the insects out of Arnold's face when he is in close-up. Dutch's commitment to precision also permeated other facets of his personality. Arnold collaborated closely with the costume designers to produce an authentic-feeling look. Every item of Dutch's equipment, including his tactical vest and weapon selections, served a specific function. It was all random. Additionally, the cigar habit affected Arnold's approach to the well-known mud scene. Dutch needed to be resourceful and composed enough to consider utilizing mud as disguise, he realized. His ability to think strategically was enhanced by the cigar smoking sessions. It's interesting to note how this minor element affected Arnold's subsequent action parts. Characters like John Matrix from Commando and the Terminator exhibit aspects of Dutch's composure and smart thinking. Arnold's action hero identity, the mandible mystery that started a franchise, was literally shaped by those smokes. Most Predator fans are unaware that James Cameron virtually entirely invented the game's most recognizable feature. The story of how Cameron's innocuous remark on a plane flight turned into one of the most iconic alien designs in film was recently told by Arnold. Think about this. During a flight, Cameron and special effects expert Stan Winston are discussing potential looks for the Predator. "You know," Cameron says to Winston, "I always wanted to see something with mandibles." The design revolution that was sparked by that one line continues to influence science fiction today. "I knew they had something special when I first saw the Predator design with those unique mandible jaws," Arnold said. The mandibles were functional and had a cool appearance. They produced the clicking sound that became the Predator's hallmark and gave the character distinctive speech patterns. This gave the creature an uncanny sense of primalness. The crazy part comes next. The mandibles appeared nearly entirely different. Different jaw configurations, ranging from intricate bone structures to more insect-like shapes, were depicted in early concept art. The finished design achieved the ideal harmony between functional and menacing. Arnold also revealed information on the actor's performances being impacted by his mandibles. The human character's reactions to the Predator were impacted by their knowledge of its complex mouth anatomy. Knowing what they were allegedly seeing informed every expression of disgust and terror. Unexpected difficulties were also brought about by the mandibles while filming. Using this complex facial prosthetic, Kevin Peter Hall, the actor from Predator, had to learn how to speak and emote. It's like putting on a complicated mask and acting Shakespeare. It's truly astounding how those mandibles inspired other science fiction works. Numerous films, television series, and computer games feature alien designs that are reminiscent of their DNA. Our perception of extraterrestrial predators was literally changed by a single remark made by James Cameron. The movie's saving grace was the firing. Arnold recently acknowledged this secret, though. Predator the first time around was nearly a total failure. And the film was saved only by the dismissal of a big star. Originally cast as the Predator creature itself, Jean-Claude Van Damme is the subject of our discussion. Van Damme was employed to mimic the alien hunter's movements, but there was only one issue. His ego outweighed his capacity to perform the intricate costume. Arnold disclosed that Van Damme was persistently whining about the suit, asking adjustments, and being a pain to deal with in general. The tipping point was when Van Damme suggested that the Predator should be more like a ninja, hopping and kicking around like a martial arts fighter. He didn't understand the creature's scary nature at all. Predator isn't meant to be ostentatious. It is meant to be meticulous, calculated, and completely foreign. The entire group, Arnold acknowledged, was growing impatient with Van Damme's actions. And here they were. Enduring the harsh rainforest environment, intense heat, and perilous creatures. Furthermore, Van Damme was yelling because his costume did not demonstrate his martial arts prowess. The choice to fire Van Damme and install Kevin in his place. Peter Hall changed the game. Hall approached the part with an entirely different vigor. He was the character's necessary imposing physical presence, standing 7 feet 2 inches tall. More significantly, he realized that rather than using impressive fighting techniques, the Predator's potency came from his mystique and alienness. All of the human performers' performance of their parts was impacted by Hall's approach to the character, Arnold disclosed. They moved through the jungle differently, gave their lines differently, and responded differently to the predator's presence after realizing they were up against this tall, methodical hunter. Literally, the film was rescued by this casting shift. Consider the possibility that Van Damme would have remained and transformed the Predator into a space ninja. The entire franchise would likely have been far less successful and quite different. Nuclear disclosure that no one anticipated. Arnold recently revealed something shocking that most fans didn't notice: the Predator's self-destruct sequence. The famous sequence where the Predator unleashes its nuclear self-destruct weapon is probably familiar to you. Even the most ardent admirers have yet to discover the secret layer of meaning. According to Arnold, the Predator's self-destruction scenario is genuinely the creature's last act of respect for Dutch, not just a way to vent frustration. The Predator understands that Dutch has shown himself to be a worthy enemy, and the nuclear blast is intended to allow him to die honorably with a fellow combatant. This interpretation fundamentally alters your perception of the film's last act. He is being offered a warrior's death by the Predator. According to the creature's culture, the greatest honor is to die in a valiant combat. In essence, the self-destruct gadget is a funeral pyre for two esteemed soldiers. Arnold acknowledged that this idea affected his portrayal of Dutch's response to the countdown. Rejecting the Predator's offer of a warrior's death, Dutch was fleeing an explosion. He makes the very human decision to put survival before honor, which is extremely different from the Predator's moral code. It also gives fresh significance to the rescue chopper that ultimately saves Dutch. Kevin Peter Hall, who portrayed the Predator, also portrayed a member of the chopper crew. As a result, the Predator paradoxically symbolizes the warrior culture's dualism by simultaneously attempting to murder Dutch and saving him. Instead of being just another action movie explosion, this nuclear revelation gives it a deeper philosophical meaning. Predator surpasses other action movies from the 1980s thanks to its nuanced storytelling. Even more intriguing is the way this idea impacted subsequent movies in the series. The concept of honor among fighters emerged as a recurrent motif, with humans and predators occasionally cooperating to combat shared adversaries. Hazardous stunt difficulties and jungle filming. Predator's production was tough, as Arnold recently disclosed, comparing it to surviving a genuine military deployment rather than a film shoot. While filming in the heart of the Mexican jungle, the actors and crew had to deal with temperatures above 100 degrees, oppressive humidity, poisonous snakes, hordes of insects, and the continual fear of tropical illness. To stay alive, everyone was on anti-malarial medicine, and some members were admitted to the hospital. The anguish, discomfort, and tiredness you witness on screen weren't merely actors. They existed. The cast was pushed to the maximum by the circumstances. Dysentery afflicted Jesse Ventura. For Carl Weathers, jungle rot was excruciating. And Arnold himself struggled despite being quite tired, while continuing Dutch's daily exercise regimen to keep his body in shape. Heat caused makeup to melt, necessitating frequent reapplications, and the crew frequently had to shoot in a hurry before the weather closed. A lot of the physical demands and feats that Arnold disclosed were frightening and would never be permitted in the modern era. With minimal safety equipment, he executed perilous falls and battled raging rivers, and put up with applying mud for hours on end for the camouflage scenes. Even the well-known "Get to the Chopper" scene was captured on camera as Arnold ran through the dark jungle while toting bulky equipment, and his weariness during the delivery was all genuine. Extreme circumstances, risky stunts, and constant physical strain were all factors that contributed to Predator's unadulterated authenticity. Dutch, according to Arnold, was formed by this sorrow into a role that he finds most convincing. Additionally, the shoot itself became a Hollywood legend because it redefined the boundaries of what crews and actors were prepared to do in the name of realism. Everything was nearly destroyed by the red rubber chicken. Arnold probably wasn't laughing at this story when it was being made, but he likes to tell it today. Because of its poor design, the crew called the original Predator the red rubber chicken, and the entire film was nearly ruined by it. Prior to the recognizable and beloved Predator design, the creature had a totally different appearance. The strange, almost humorous extraterrestrial in the early test film appeared more like a shoddy Halloween costume than a fearsome hunter. According to Arnold, the entire ensemble was concerned that they were producing a B-movie disaster when they first saw this concept. Various effects artists developed the initial concept, and it experienced severe technical issues. The actor couldn't see well, the suit was cumbersome, and the whole look was more goofy than frightful. Arnold acknowledged that, given the absurd appearance of the creature, he was somewhat concerned about whether the film would be taken seriously. The choice to abandon the original design and begin anew was costly and dangerous. By the time they discovered the creature wasn't functioning, they were well into the production process. While some people tried to make do with what they had, studio bosses were terrified of budget overruns. Stan Winston fortunately stepped in and produced the modern classic. Arnold disclosed that they practically had to reshoot a lot of the Predator scenes since the transition was so dramatic. The outcome of this significant mid-production rework is what you see in the finished film. Hollywood turned the red rubber chicken incident into a warning, discussing how crucial it is to create the monster design correctly from the start. This experience influenced my later involvement in creature design for other projects, Arnold said. What's fascinating is how the outcome was enhanced by this near calamity. Stan Winston and his team had learned from their failures in the previous effort at designing the Predator since they had to start over. This creative turmoil actually led to the famous design that we adore today. The internet was broken by a handshake before it even existed. Arnold and Carl Weathers' tremendous handshake is among the most famous scenes in Predator. However, decades later, Arnold finally shared the amazing backstory of this iconic moment that fans continue to discuss. The intensity of the handshake sequence was not initially included in the script. It was intended that Arnold and Carl Weathers would just greet one another as if they were old military friends. However, the moment became considerably more potent as both actors contributed their own competing fire. In order to get ready for that scene, Arnold disclosed that he and Weathers actually did a lot of exercise together. Their personalities were supposed to resemble real military personnel who had maintained optimal physical fitness. The handshake evolved as a means of demonstrating respect for one another between two alpha warriors. The way that one handshake shaped action movie culture for decades later is remarkable. Arnold acknowledged that they were unaware at the time of how famous the moment would turn out to be. It has been honored, referenced, and ridiculed in innumerable films and television programs. The handshake was more complicated to film technically than you may imagine. The views of the camera. For the intensity of the moment to be captured, timing and lighting had to be flawless. Arnold disclosed that they actually performed several takes in order to achieve the ideal grip strength and facial expressions. This handshake also created the standard for on-screen greetings between action heroes. The warrior's unspoken understanding, strength, and respect are key. Its influence can be seen in action films from the 1980s and after. Arnold stated that he is still asked for the Predator handshake by admirers, and he is always pleased to comply. His "I'll be back and get to the chopper" moment is now one of his most recognizable ones. Predator's unique qualities are aptly captured in the handshake sequence. It's more than just the extraterrestrial beast. It all comes down to human strength, friendship, and the ties that are forged between fighters who are up against insurmountable obstacles. Arnold's entire career is connected to Predator through secret ties. Arnold has disclosed some intriguing parallels between Predator and his other well-known performances that most fans had never thought of. Additionally, their thoughtful artistic decisions demonstrate how Arnold's entire approach to action filmmaking was impacted by Predator. The Dutch's strategic thinking in Predator had a direct impact on Arnold's approach to the Terminator character. Both characters are analytical, systematic, and able to modify their strategies in response to their opponent's shortcomings. In his portrayal of the cybernetic assassin, Arnold disclosed that he purposefully applied the principles he learned from playing Dutch. Arnold also incorporated Predator's survivalist themes into his later movies, such as Commando and Raw Deal. While filming Predator, Arnold learned how to portray a guy who isn't just an unbeatable superhero but is actually struggling against tremendous circumstances. The way Arnold's experience with Predator shaped his method of dealing with ensemble casts is what's so fascinating. is a member of a team, and Arnold taught himself how to take charge without taking over every scene. Movies like the Expendables series demonstrate this well-rounded strategy. Arnold also disclosed that he approached acting people that deal with supernatural or sci-fi dangers differently because of the psychological aspects of facing an extraterrestrial hunter. The way Arnold's characters respond to truly scary opponents is modeled from Dutch's terror and reverence for the Predator. Arnold's action career was characterized by the same level of military authenticity and tactical gear as Predator. His insistence on true military input and realistic weapons handling in his films earned him notoriety. The Predator experience helped Arnold in his subsequent humorous roles as well. He honed his timing and physique while working in the jungle, which influenced his performances in movies like Twins and Kindergarten Cop. Additionally, Predator's global success gave Arnold access to opportunities that his earlier films had not. His latter blockbuster career depended heavily on his ability to carry a film that resonated with viewers around the world. An icon was made using the sound design secret. Recently, Arnold revealed some amazing details about the Predator's distinctive clicking sound that the majority of fans were unaware of. In reality, this was a meticulously designed sonic signature that required some really inventive techniques and took months to develop. Using a variety of odd sources, sound designer Alan Robert Murray produced the clicking sound that we now know as the Predator's voice. Arnold disclosed that the group tried everything from altered castanet recordings to lobster shells clicking in unison to even human mouth sounds that had been subjected to different filters. This is made much more intriguing by the fact that Arnold collaborated extensively with the sound crew to determine how these sonic cues would impact his performance. The fact that the Predator used clicks and electronic sounds to communicate affected Dutch's response to these sounds in the bush. Arnold revealed that in order to help the actors realize when the Predator was intended to talk, they employed temporary clicking noises on set during filming. Even though post-production would be used to enhance the final sound design, this helped the human characters react more realistically. Equally inventive were the sound effects for thermal vision. The Predator's thermal vision segments don't have that characteristic electronic humming that was produced by synthesizers. To produce that unearthly aural signature, electromagnetic interference from several technological gadgets was actually recorded and then altered. According to Arnold, the sound design team recorded real environmental noises in the jungle for weeks in order to create an immersive aural world that would be stacked behind the Predators. Each bug chirp, wind ruffle, and water drip was meticulously recorded. The most ingenious aspect is how, as the Predator becomes more agitated or threatened, its sounds increase faster and more violent. Arnold disclosed that this audio progression was purposefully created to mimic the natural behavior of predatory animals. Their emotional states influence the way they vocalize. The way this sound design affected the entire franchise is amazing. These initial clicking rhythms have been in every Predator film since, establishing a recognizable audio brand over many years. Arnold was able to hear new audio technology along with updated versions of these iconic sounds since his recent comeback to the franchise. Because the clicking has become so recognizable, Arnold acknowledges that when fans encounter him on the street, they frequently mimic the Predator clicking noises. As evidence that excellent sound design can be just as memorable as visual effects, it has become as well known as any of his well-known movie quotations. The makeup marathon and deleted scenes. According to new revelations from Arnold Schwarzenegger, Predator had a number of deleted scenes that would have drastically changed the film's breadth and depth. These scenes, which paralleled the Predator's own hunting history and gave Dutch more weight, examined his troubled past through terrifying flashbacks of botched military missions. A grim legacy of systematic hunts targeting skilled warriors was hinted at by dog tags from missing soldiers, ancient weaponry, and skeleton remains found in other chopped material, which demonstrated the creature's centuries-long presence on Earth. The cuts continued after that. Predator technology was seen in a subplot interfering with Dutch's attempts to get help, and long shots revealed the creature observing the squad from a distance. Before attacking, find out their strategies and vulnerabilities. It was also intended to develop Dutch's connection with Anna, the captive guerrilla fighter, so that he would have more chances to show off his leadership and strategic acumen. These sections were ultimately cut for pacing, which simplified the narrative while removing layers of lore and character development. Arnold revealed astounding details about the demanding prosthetics and makeup work that almost stopped production, in addition to story elements. Everyday makeup procedures became endurance tests due to the heat, humidity, and persistent mosquitoes in the forest. For the camouflage sequence, Arnold spent hours covered in a specially prepared mud concoction. The Predator, Kevin Peter Hall, showed a great deal of dedication to the part by enduring up to 8-hour prosthetic sessions that restricted his breathing and eyesight. Just as remarkable was the cosmetics team's commitment. Working non-stop in the abrasive jungle environment, they frequently missed entire workdays due to unexpected downpours. They also invented methods for creating thermal vision effects that called for certain pigments and supplies. These developments helped to create Predator's iconic appearance and advanced the motion picture business, impacting prosthetics and makeup design for many years. Predator was far more than a typical action film, as evidenced by the combination of the edited scenes and innovative effects. It was a severe but revolutionary production that revolutionized its field. The workshop for weapons Arnold never forgot. Arnold has revealed some amazing tales about the preparation and training of the weaponry used in Predator, exposing a degree of military realism that most fans were unaware of. For the remainder of his career, Arnold's approach to action parts was altered by this valid military instruction. Prior to filming, the entire ensemble underwent a rigorous weapons training program led by actual military consultants that were engaged by the production. Arnold disclosed that they had to spend weeks learning how to handle all of the weapons in the film, including survival knives, assault rifles, and explosives. The interesting thing is that Arnold insisted on learning how to load, maintain, and troubleshoot the weapons while under pressure. For Dutch to be convincing, he had to have the feel of a real military operator, and Arnold understood that selling the character required real weapon handling. Blaine carries the renowned M134 minigun, a fully functional weapon that needed specialized training to use safely. According to Arnold, Jesse Ventura, who plays Blaine, had to develop a lot of upper body strength simply to be able to grip the rifle in action scenes. According to Arnold, they used their firearms to rehearse military maneuvers and strategies. Discovering the methods used by actual special operations teams to get across jungle terrain. Both the team's collective performance and individual performances during fighting sequences were impacted by this training. Specialized instruction from military combat instructors was necessary for the knife work. During filming, Arnold learnt real knife fighting tactics that would be safe to use and appear realistic on camera. Real survival skills were used in the well-known scene where Dutch craftsmen made their own weapons. It's truly amazing that Arnold used his understanding of firearms in his subsequent action movies. In contrast to other action stars who relied more on special effects, he adopted realistic handling techniques from Predator as his go-to method for handling firearms throughout his career. The explosives training was quite rigorous. Timing, positioning, and safety procedures for actual military demolitions were taught to Arnold and the actors. This information influenced the sequences in which Dutch fights the Predator using guerrilla warfare. The performer's rapid adaptation to real-world weapons handling impressed the military advisors, Arnold said. They were used to hitting targets and memorizing lines because of their Hollywood training. But for many of them, this was their first exposure to real military capabilities. The survival instruction that was part of the weapons workshop also affected the characters' actions when they were not using their gear. During the film, Arnold gained knowledge of actual jungle survival skills that influenced Dutch's ingenuity. Decades later, Arnold still possesses some of his firearms talents, which is very awesome. He just made a comeback to the Predator series, proving that he still retains the genuine military demeanor that made Dutch such a compelling character. Arnold is contributing to the future of the franchise. Arnold's return to the Predator series is undoubtedly an homage to nostalgia. It is establishing the foundation for a completely new age. Arnold disclosed that it was finally possible to broaden Dutch's story and examine his activities in the 40 years since his jungle confrontation after meeting with director Dan Trachtenberg. Was he waiting for the Predators to come back, or had he been hunting them covertly all along? In addition to providing an opportunity for him to impart his accumulated wisdom as a seasoned warrior, his return links the 1987 masterpiece to contemporary movies like Prey and Badlands. Furthermore, Arnold is more than a cameo at 78. Through plot consultations, the preservation of the franchise's key concepts, and even hints at live-action potential, he is actively influencing the franchise's future. All of this is about paying tribute to a classic and reinventing Predator's future. Predator was far more than simply another action movie from the 1980s, as demonstrated by Arnold's disclosures regarding the movie. The film was a combination of suffering, ingenuity, and cooperation that created an enduring classic, from understated symbolism like the scorpion sequence to the vicious feats that tried the limits of actual human ability. Arnold is 78 years old, and his continuous involvement in the series demonstrates his strong bond with the narrative, respecting its history while assisting in its direction. In this video, which Arnold surprise is your favorite? Let us know which secret startled you the most by leaving a comment below.